What is up, Dad?
Okay, 1 second.
No problem. Sweet. Oh, I don't have headphones. Whatever. Who cares? Maybe there might be an echo. Probably not, though.
Hold on.
Hold on. I like your Under Armour shirt. It's very cool.
Thanks.
Very fashionable.
Why is it not letting me?
What are you trying to do, Dad?
I'm trying to make it so it's not playing through this. Hold on.
Playing through what?
Output.
Your
Oh,
computer.
there we go. There we go. We're good now.
Sweet. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me change my background.
No problem. Oh, sure. I actually, you know what, Dad? The pirate ship's growing on me. I take it back. I take everything back. I like it. I like the little pirate ship. It's like Caribbean. It's really weird because you're like demonstrating all this like fancy vacation stuff and you're like in the middle of winter in Colorado. You have your ocean surrounded by beaches so you feel like warm.
All right.
See?
All right. So what do you want to talk about? I'm just gonna let's talk about whatever you think would be good to talk about.
Okay, Dad. I figured out. Okay, so remember when we were talking about on the last one? We talked about like Jason should open a dumpster franchise, right? That's what you said.
Sure. Yeah.
So why don't I just go get the equipment myself, right? Skip the franchising fees and go start Jason's Dump Company where I'm already handling most of the marketing and all that stuff, and I can just build the brand myself.
Let's talk about it again. Let's start over. All right. So all right. All right. Ready? So
is my
I'm gonna hit record. Are you recording?
Oh, I just was already going. Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna have to. But I'm saying you're gonna have to send this to me because I'm gonna have to cut it and edit it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, I can just email it to you. Or honestly, if it might
all
not
right.
end.
We are recording a session. 3, 2, 1.
I didn't even know we did that. I'd never do that for any of the podcast stuff.
Well, the reason we do that is to know where your splits are, so that when you're trying to do it for video, you can see it because you're going to delete most of this audio.
That's true. So
the 3, 2, 1 break, I learned that from Jordan Hall. So
that's cool. That's smart. Yeah, the more you know. Okay.
Well,
so Dad, we were talking yesterday. You're like, Jason
So introduce myself. We'll have to do this every time because I'm going to have to cut the whole thing.
Okay. Hi.
Just say, you could say, okay, so here's what I want you to ask me. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
We don't need to do that every time. We should just cut that and put it at the beginning.
Okay, that's fine. We've never recorded it though.
We have. I asked you said.
I don't have any of that though. I have none of that audio, none of that video, but that's fine. That's fine.
I'll send it to you. Sorry.
Make it difficult.
Yeah, just say you hate me, son. That's fine.
You know that's not the case, even remotely.
I don't hate you, Dad.
Listen, I didn't want to do this at all. I wanted to sit back on the couch and watch Yellowstone. So there you go.
You want to watch Yellowstone? That's a cool show. Oh wait, so Dad.
Have you seen it?
I have not. I just have heard good things.
Oh my Lord, Jason. So the app is called Peacock. You can get it on your phone. It's like NBC.
Is it free?
But I'm telling you, if you have cable TV or have someone that has cable, it's free.
Sweet. Okay, Dad, you have cable. I'd like your login, please.
I'm using someone else's phone.
It's like that's how you like. This is why the rich get richer, Dad. You know, like
right, exactly.
All the rich people. It's like you didn't even pay for HBO for like ever.
No, I didn't, but I can't get it now. Unfortunately, they've caught on to the secrets. They send authorization codes to the email on file every time. So,
dang it!
All right, here we go. Sweet. All right, 3, 2, 1. Ask me whatever you have questions.
Okay. Hello. Hey, Dad. Tell the world about yourself. Wait, is this all right?
Yeah.
Go.
Well, so you know what my idea about doing these sessions is to help a combination of factors. One is to help entrepreneurs, who have questions about everything from raising capital to managing a business to mergers and acquisitions to franchising to pretty much anything and everything you could think of and can touch base on. I'd love to help them, and that's my goal, is to kind of be an open sounding board to the good, bad, and ugly of entrepreneurship, the fun, everything from the we're going bankrupt to the private jet. And that's what I want to do, is just be here to help and answer questions, you know, and be just a tool in the toolbox for an everyday entrepreneur.
Awesome. Sweet. So we were talking, that was a great little spiel. We were talking, a couple of days ago about franchising, and you gave the example of Jason should start a dumpster business where he goes and compacts trash so it saves him money.
Right.
So what I was saying, what I was saying is that I should go, instead of paying all the franchise fees to this business, which is, instead of doing all that stuff and going through all that, I could just buy the equipment myself, right, and build that from there, and then just build up a brand and just start it from there, because then I don't have to pay the franchising fees and all that. So what's the value of paying that instead of doing it yourself?
Well, in this particular case, in this business, one of the biggest elements is a proprietary patent service. So the machinery is patented, so you could not go do the same thing on your own. Mm-hmm. But that's not the only reason. The reason that people invest in franchises is because of the simplicity, and all of the brain damage and hard work has been done for you. So everything from business structure to organizational to marketing components to branding to best practices, every single thing that you can think of running a business is already been handled and taken care of for you. So you can come in with very little industrial knowledge of the specific industry, whether it be food service or, for instance, in this trash compacting business, or it could be anything. And the reality is, you can walk in with just your intrinsic ability of maybe salesmanship or management or just networking and build a business without having to start from scratch. You know, most people, and even entrepreneurs, sometimes struggle with even the things simple as building an intrinsic accounting system or the initial marketing package or branding or advertising. When you invest in a franchise, you're getting all that already turnkey for you. It's not something you're having to go track down and figure out, I'm going to hire this web developer, I'm going to hire this guy. The other thing is, so many of these services provide inbound and outbound marketing and calling for you. So instead of somebody calling and wanting the service done and trying to get you on the phone, your appointments are scheduled for you. You don't have to do that. Instead of going out and prospecting and build, that's already done by many of these franchises to make the success rate so much higher. The success rate on a franchise is significantly higher than the average entrepreneur. And we're talking about 20 to 30% in most cases, up to 80% different in success rates between a franchise and non-franchise. So franchise restaurants are in a totally different level than a mom and pop startup restaurant. Yes. And the reason is because those systems, the supply chain, all of those things that are built in to help you. And that's what makes the difference between why you invest in a franchise as opposed to just going out on your own. And what I do as a franchise consultant is I try to match great people, entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs, with great opportunities to make their lives easy and give them a better chance to be successful and to find the right business that fits for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also that's really cool. Yeah, I completely agree. But also, it's like with like I think especially with restaurants right now, that was definitely something that I'm now thinking about, because it's like the percentage of freaking, imagine trying to run a restaurant right now.
It'd be brutally difficult.
A Cane's across the street or whatever, like it's like next to impossible. So when you're saying that there was an 80% difference between a franchise and like a franchise and just a normal business, like, so isn't it like 1 out of 10 businesses after 5 years is still around, right?
Yeah. Basically the break points for most businesses are 3 years and 5 years. By the end of the 5th year, less than 10% of all businesses that are started are still in business by that 5th year. And the reason is for so many different reasons. And that's the difficulty. It could be anything from staffing to management to capital. Working capital runs out. One problem happens. Anything can set that set that awry. It could be something as simple as you lose a great manager or a great salesperson, and you can't find somebody to replace them. It could be you can't get your products out fast enough. You can't. Your supply chain could get broken. If you are a widget company that needs 10 different parts to make your widget, and one of those is not coming in on time, that means your deadlines are not being met to your customers. It,
Mhm.
it can be so many different things that are completely out of your control. And that's, again, to come back to why franchising works, is because all of those supply lines are already built,
Yeah.
and they're not supplying little Jason's business here. They're supplying 200, 300, 400, 1,000 units across the nation. They have an entire supply line built just for you. And that could be something as simple as food products in a restaurant to equipment and parts for a supply business.
Yeah, that's really crazy. That's like when you say it, when you just like explain that, that's really interesting because you think about
Sure.
like every each one of those things that can go wrong. And like you've got a lot
That's
of
and
experience.
the worst part is one of those things could be wrong that has nothing to do with you. You could do everything right, and somebody, some other state, some other country could screw it all up because of something that had nothing to do with you.
But also, I'll play devil's advocate, right? So let's say that there's a franchise in, I don't know, like Lubbock, Texas, of whatever. Like, let's say I run a hair salon and they deny service to someone based off of their hair type or something, and I run a small franchise in, like Colorado Springs, and then there's people like protesting. I think having that connection, you're gonna like if there's like one business that messes up, it could necessarily kind of go down the chain and affect everyone as well. And then imagine if like there's a big problem, then it's not just you that's getting hosed, it's everyone.
That could
So
happen, and
yeah,
it is taking the good with the
yeah,
bad, though. But
that's true.
there's a reason why you go to and you pick up off the shelf, you pick up a red Coca-Cola can
Yeah,
instead of
branding.
a
Yes.
Bob's Coke, or Bob's soda. The
Or like
fact that I
Big
even
Red.
think
Yeah.
about this, I just said Coke because the fact is, when I myself, I still call all soda pops Cokes. So even a 7 Up is a Coke, and a Dr. Pepper is a Coke. Everything is a Coke.
Hmm.
Why? Because it's just how it's been built. So
Yeah.
similarly, just you brought up Canes or a Chick-fil-A or anything like that. The reason you go is because you've had a great experience. And I would say, even on the road, if you were traveling, you'd stop at a Canes because you had a great experience, and the same product is going to be there over and over. And
Yep.
it's the same thing with the Starbucks coffee.
Yep.
You have it in your mind what that experience is going to be. So if they do a great job, that's you can't buy that. You will never, as a sole proprietor, be able to build the brand image that you're going to get right off the bat as you would of a franchise.
Yeah, it would
You're
definitely take
just not going
time.
to get.
Yeah. I
you
just
know
think
it,
yeah,
it it does happen, but it doesn't happen overnight. I
that's
mean,
very
Chipotle
true.
is a perfect example of a company that was founded in Colorado, but it took years and years and years in growth and development. Chick-fil-A, Atlanta, Georgia, took years and years and years of experience. The McDonald's brothers, San Bernardino, California, started very slow. Ray Kroc comes in, boom, it goes global. It does take time, and it can be done. The reason you invest in a franchise is because for a very, very small portion of your revenue, you're getting more bang for the buck than you could ever have hoped for.
Oh yeah. That makes a lot of sense. No, yeah, that definitely makes sense. I
A
think
perfect,
also it's like you got to build brand for. I think because there's a lot of people that run a mom and pop business or any of that stuff, or like are trying to start their own T-shirt business, and I don't want them to feel like they can't build a brand. I think you definitely there's a lot of stuff that you can do to build a brand, whether that's being a social media stud and doing all that stuff. I think definitely there's like a, but also it's like when you think about like branding, it's like a lot of that is out of your control in terms of like a franchise. It's like if you start a Burger King, like I know the perception of what I think of Burger King is I've had a lot of terrible experiences with Burger King, and that just automatically taints that every single Burger King. You could be running
sure.
the best Burger King in the world, and then you're still hosed because like Jason's gonna drive by and say, "Oh, that Burger King sucks."
I,
Yeah,
of course, that can be the case in any business.
yeah,
One perfect example is house cleaning. Okay, if you're
yeah.
having your house cleaned, okay,
Mhm.
and there's two different ways of looking at it. If you're looking for a house cleaner and you go online and you see a nationally branded house cleaning franchise, or you jump on Craigslist and find a house cleaner, who are you going to feel from the very first moment and day more comfortable being in your house with your stuff, cleaning your house? A nationally recognized brand with people in uniforms that the whole process is dialed in, or some lady that shows up with a bucket? The difference is exactly that. It's
Yeah,
belief, it's confidence. You know, you're right. There are negative experiences that can happen with any business, but at the end of the
yeah,
day, it's that confidence that you're getting
yeah.
when you're investing in a franchise. It's because people are going to feel more comfortable doing business with a name and something that they feel comfortable with, as opposed to just something. And
Yeah.
the fact is, the product could be better from that person that just shows up what you got on Craigslist. But the fact is that that person is not going to ever be able to scale and never going to build something beyond what they're able to do, as opposed to many different home cleaning franchises um, can scale and grow and build. And the fact is, there's intrinsic, client confidence with that national brand. There just is.
So let's say like me and Kobe, we want to go start like a car detailing business, right?
Right.
How would
Sure.
like let's say that we want to consider franchising that. How would we do that? Let's say that we have a really good system and we have this thing that we want to just start growing, expanding, and selling that. How would you go about starting a franchise
So
like that?
once you have proven out a successful concept that
Yeah.
is duplicatable, you find a guy like me, and then I will help you scale your business and turn it into a franchise and help you scale it nationwide.
So you
That's what
have
I do.
so yeah, that's awesome. So what would you do to you say help scale? Like are you like on like selling stuff? Are you like what would
Well,
your
pretty much, I'm gonna walk you through that process of these are the legal components of what you need to franchise. Most people don't even understand that franchises are registered, and each state has to register. If you want to offer your franchise in each individual state, you have to be registered in that state. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, actually regulates all franchises. You have to register with the United States. There's a lot of those just the legal processes of being able to offer it. And what they've over time have learned is that navigating these processes for a lot of small businesses is very difficult. That's why a person like me can help you through that process. And I can connect you with the right people, the right lawyers, banks, agencies that will help you take your business from a small business, small car detailing business in Colorado Springs, and help you end up with 500 locations, 10 years down the road.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sweet. So there's that. Yeah. What else do you want to talk about? What else is on your mind?
I don't know.
What questions do you want to ask me about, Dad?
You got a girlfriend?
No, no, I do not. I am single as all get out, my man. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just like I'm kind of. I know it sounds cliche, but I'm like trying to focus on me, and it's like
So
my
are you gonna no? So will you take this and then edit out certain components?
yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I just I think that the best form of content is like that unedited, authentic crap. Like I think that's the best. I think the best way to make content is by showing the mess ups. You want to know something
Sure.
crazy, Dad? You want to look at like Addison Rae's TikTok page, right? She has like 9 million, whatever. I think she has like 50 million followers. She posts the TikToks of her messing the dance up, and that
Sure.
gets 10 million freaking
Sure.
likes.
That's
And
smart.
like
No, I get it.
it's like I think
I
I
totally
think
get it.
if it goes down the pipeline and it gets so bogged down and all this editing crap, I think you lose kind of your best asset. I think the best part of Joe Rogan is that did you watch that one about the guy that does mushrooms, like Paul Stamets?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so there's this Joe Rogan episode where he interviews this guy that grows like mushrooms and like recreational mushrooms for like
Okay.
psychedelics and stuff. It's crazy. And he sits down with the guy and he asks him a question. And the guy's like, I don't feel comfortable asking. I don't feel comfortable answering that. And he's like, well, okay, then I'm going to respectfully move on from that. And that moment is something that I still think about. It's like, that's crazy. That just shows how real the conversation is. It's because like you could easily edit that out and it would be fine. Right.
Right.
But that's just so crazy that it's like that's authentic. And that's what I think I think building a brand is like, yeah.
Question: Are you in your room?
Oh no,
Or are you
I'm
in the basement?
I'm just in like this basement area. Yeah. Like
Okay. It looks like you have a bar behind you.
I do. This is literally I'm sitting at a bar pretty much. So.
Okay, I'm like it looks like a bar. I'm like
it's still really good. I really like the setup. I have like also something I definitely recommend is like if you have a cup of water next to you, Dad. That's like the best. If you talk for more than like 5 minutes, I have to drink water. So, yeah. So Dad, like what would be like let's say you have like 7 things that you got to tell someone that's about to start his business for the first time ever. What are like the 7 things you go tell them? Like 7 like points.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
All right. So if I had to give you 7 different things to make sure you have dialed into start a small business, the number one thing, and everybody's going to say this, and it's how you look at it, but is truly a business plan. It does need to be some 200-page behemoth, but even 2 pages of laying out exactly what your goal is, exactly what your aim is, your segment, your perfect customer, that whole process of really dedicating the time to deciding what am I trying to do and how am I going to do it is very important. That's probably the very first thing, is just having a very solid plan of how you're going to do it. Then what you're going to need to do is start establishing from that point, what are these steps that I need to do to execute on this plan? So if the plan is I want to start a automotive detailing business, say, okay, so who is my customer? Am I going to the average person just out there? Am I going commercial? Am I looking for auto dealerships and that, or am I looking for something else? Who is my customer? Then I'm going to determine how I'm going to reach out to those customers. How am I going to develop those relationships? From there, once I have that plan, then I need to have a built-in marketing plan. How am I going to get those customers to come to me, or how am I going to go to them and build on that business? The other part you need to understand is capitalization. What do I need to have set aside financially to be able to keep this going? And what can I do to give myself the best possible chance of success? The other elements you need to start considering is this something you're doing by yourself? You're doing with a team? You need to understand, and I know I've given you 7, but the reality is the number one most important thing is understanding who you are, who your customer is, and how you're going to build and develop that relationship.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's automotive detailing. It doesn't matter if it's a service-based business, even a retail or sales-based business. At the end of the day, it's you knowing yourself and then knowing your customer.
Yeah. I think self-awareness is definitely, I think, the biggest one. It's like
and I think
yeah.
You need to know your customer. You need to know what makes them tick. Why would they do business with you instead of somebody else?
Mm-hmm. And really understand your market. And I think reading up on all the stuff surrounding it, that's one of my biggest things. Is like, I think a reality that a lot of businesses like everyone thinks they have a super unique idea. Everyone thinks that their idea is phenomenal and that they're just a stud. That they're the only person that's ever thought of creating a mobile auto detailing business for car dealerships or for people that are trying to flip cars. That's like the market. Everyone thinks that they're super unique in creating an idea like that. But the reality is there's a lot of people that have probably tried businesses, even if it's not your exact thing, that have done similar things. And I think understanding the market is very, very important. Like the first thing that I did before I started Ocean is I went and read up on Amazon, on Uber, on every single tech company. I think if you can name almost any tech company from like the past 15 years, I could tell you a little excerpt about what they did well and what they could have done better. I just really understood like how does data and information travel, and that was like what I did before I like kind of started into the business. I just started reading a bunch of books. I knew I wanted to do something in tech, and then as I started to do that, then I kind of went into the thing where I go make a business plan and do all that stuff. So Dad, I want to kind of push back against one thing. I think if you try really early on to define your customer, I think that could be bad. Like, let's say that me and Kobe, we start our car detailing business, right? And we're trying really hard to push to consumers. And that's our ideal customer is like a person that's going to work and they want to do that, right? And we're having a lot of trouble. And then we just are, but hey, this isn't our business plan. We're never going to look at any other opportunities,
That's
though.
not what I said. That's not what I said.
You said understand your target customer, your ideal customer.
Right.
My ideal customer is that guy, right?
No, it's not. Your ideal customer is who's going to make your business survive. You may have to pivot. If you cannot get people to come to you, what?
That's that. I completely agree. Yeah, you need to pivot.
No, but you still need to understand what is. So a perfect example, even in a pivot, is a person, your ideal customer is not somebody who's going to get their car detailed one time and call you once a year. That will never make a business. But your ideal customer in that specific business is somebody who's going to consistently detail numerous cars with you over a long period of time. That's the difference. Again, unless you're selling a very high margin, high valued commodity or product, one and done is not going to do it. Even a repeat every 2 or 3 years is not going to do it unless you're a real estate agent or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And you build a brand like that. The reality is in that business, it is who is going to give me a consistent flow of business over this time period, over the next 12 months, the next 24 months, and how am I going to foster and build that relationship? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, you need to understand what is it going to take in my business to be successful? And if you think, I'm going to be the best detailer on the planet and I can clean anybody's car, that's great for that one car. And now you'll go broke. You're the best in the world and you're still going to go broke because you did one car for one person. And you did 20 cars in a month. 20 cars in a month is you're going to still go broke. Mm-hmm. Even at $150 a car, you're still going to go broke.
Yeah.
Because that's not a business. So the whole point is you need to understand the economics of your business. You need to understand how many cars do I need to do per day, per month, per quarter to make this a business. And what is my time worth? If you find yourself, you're working your rear end off, you're not growing, and you're making $10, $15 an hour, you've got to decide, is this business worth it? If it's growing and you got to do that, it's growing and you're putting the money back into the business, that's a different story. But if you're not and you can't figure out, that's a totally different animal.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to point at is that I think that if you hold on too tightly to your business plan, I think you can fall into other businesses even if you have like that business plan.
But a business plan is created with what's called KPIs.
Yeah.
Key performance indicators. Most people think that sales or revenue is a indicator. It is an indicator, but it's a lagging indicator. You won't find out what that is until the end of the month or the end of the quarter or the end of the year. What you need to be looking at is things like conversions, new customers, new clients, the retention of those clients. Those are all indicators that are going to dictate whether your business is going to be successful.
So what's your
more than revenue?
Yeah,
Right. So and if I have 5 let's say I have a detail company and I have 10 phone calls that said I'd like to get my car detailed, and you can find that your indicators, you only get 5 of those 10 to book and show up to get their car detailed. Well, that's a better indicator right off the bat than waiting until the end of the month to find out how much money you made. You're saying we're only getting 50% of the people in the door that called us to come get their car cleaned up, right? And so those are the elements that you have to start working through.
Yeah. So, but like this is what I was trying to say. Okay. So with a business plan, you have your business plan. You're trying to do all that stuff. You're seeing what's working, what's not working. If you hold on too tightly and try not to look for a new opportunity, like let's say that me and Kobe start doing cars and we're, hitting all those benchmarks and, we start doing pretty well, but then we realize that if we start lagging, I don't think if you hold on too tightly to the business plan and say the business plan is what's going to save us and we just need to stick to it. I think and then if you figure out okay, there's a car dealership there, I think that's a better market for what we want to try to do and what we want to try to sell. And then I think you shouldn't hold on too tightly, and that you should be like, you can be very kind of Like, I think details are like okay, but like but on the overall vision, I think you have to like stay poignant. If that makes sense.
Right. I would say that what I mean by the managing through the
Yeah.
business plan is you can't just wing everything. You've got to understand where you're going, what you're
Yes.
trying to do.
Yes.
And that's
I completely
primarily
agree.
really what I'm saying. It's
Yes.
not so much that is it's I need to understand where I'm going and what I'm trying to do. And I need to have a plan. And it's like this. I can tell you as a person, as an entrepreneur myself, there's many times I would say I am building an airplane while it's flying. That is a dumb plan. I've done it. I unfortunately have been stuck doing it, and I found myself in that situation a lot. But the reality is that's what the difference is. You've
What
got to
would you
figure
say
out
are tips to avoid that? Right? Like, what would you say are things you can do?
manage your growth. Manage. It's not all about opening more locations or more hiring more staff. It's about doing really well with what you have. And once you have it figured out, you can scale a business. But it's trying to scale before you figure it out is not the best idea.
Mm. Man, it's so weird. Like, I hear you saying that, and then it's like if you've read Blitz Scaling by Reid Hoffman or a lot of these business books, there are a lot of grow as fast as possible and then figure it out. Like, that's like the thing. It's like, yeah, definitely have
And, and so there is some elements to that I won't. But again, it's also what are you trying to do?
yeah.
The fact is, if you have a never-ending checkbook and you can get all of these things figured out and you have the right situation, go for it. But again, what that means, they figured it out. It's like this. It's like this. You have to have a plan. You have to know what you're doing. Now, again, I'm not saying that growth is bad or anything like that. I'm saying that would you rather have 30 locations of a business that's hanging on for dear life or 5 rock star locations?
You do 5 rock star locations. Yeah.
And then once you got it figured out, you could for cash open the 6th and the 10th and the 30th, right? But going from nothing to 30 means I have 30 times more problems.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that in my career, I would say most of the time I wish I would have grown slower than grown faster. If
Mm-hmm.
I'd have been very purposeful and grown patiently and been waited to be profitable and strong from a very strong position, I probably would have done better. That's just the thing. But it's the big one in the room. You want to be that big
It's
swinging
ego.
dude.
Yeah, it's
Right.
ego. And if you
But see,
separate,
it's but
yeah,
see that's the problem.
yeah,
It's not ego because the fact is, what's more big? I have a juggernaut business that is cranking out money, or I have a very large, tons of locations, and I'm not making much money,
no,
right?
but it's the ego that makes you want to open those other locations and having
That's
that.
probably fair.
Yeah,
That's probably fair, but um,
yeah,
in my case, I would say most of the time I would say I would rather have grown smartly and purposefully,
yeah.
and I'm learning that now. But again, it's one of those things that um, I think it's important to be very smart and patient and look for those right
Yeah.
opportunities too.
Like, that's one of the biggest things that I've figured out. Like, very early on, if I try to expect everything, it's like it's like ill-gotten gains disappear just as quickly. It's like if you try to do everything really fast and go crazy, like it's not going to work out. But if you have that patience in terms of sitting and being okay with having, your one location that you're just really happy with and just doing that and then figuring out, hey, here I can fix this thing and make this perfect, and then I can make sure that I can scale. And I think that, like, you can have
I mean,
these systems. Yeah,
the thing that's interesting to me about this whole conversation
yeah,
is I'm having a conversation, and I want you to take this for the grain of salt. Okay, I'm like this exact conversation with a 20-year-old college dropout who is speaking with more wisdom and smartly and educated conversation than people I've talked to that have nowhere near the understanding of the process and the understanding of business than you do. with a college degree. And I'm saying that as a total compliment, because the fact is that we can have that conversation and talk very candidly, and you can understand what I'm truly talking about. Because I can tell you, I've talked to some people that are dumber than a rock that have went to business school.
Yep.
And so I just want you to know I am impressed, and I'm very glad that you're doing what you're doing and
Yeah.
you're making the strides that you're making.
Oh, and also the thing is, it's like I also have to realize that I'm an idiot about 98% of things. And
No, but see, the difference. What made me is this. What made me is a desire to learn about a lot of different things.
oh yeah, same.
That's it.
Yeah,
Now,
that's all I
now
can.
let me ask you. So, totally different subject.
Mhm.
Are you paying attention to at all what's going on with GameStop?
I am. That is nuts. That
Do
is.
you know? Okay, so let's actually have a conversation about this and put
Yeah.
this on TikTok. Okay,
Oh,
let's stop. Okay, all right.
Google
So we're
clap.
gonna have this conversation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. So what do you understand what a short squeeze is?
I do not. I know
Okay.
what a
So
short is, but not a short squeeze.
okay. So what a short squeeze is this? Because the number of shares of a stock are limited. Okay. When people are shorting, it means they're borrowing shares from one person, holding them, and then returning them at a later date. The thing with a short is a short is as a bet has an unlimited risk potential, meaning if I buy a stock for $5 and it goes to zero, what's the most I can lose?
$5.
$5. If I short a stock at $5, the most I can lose is infinity,
Yep.
because the stock could go to $5 billion and I'm out because I got to replace that. Now, what hedge funds and large VC firms, which stands for venture capital firms, are doing is they've been shorting GameStop, because everybody in their right mind understands that GameStop as a business is not going to survive. It can't survive. There's no way the business is going to make it. So everybody and their brother shorted the stock. Large institutional investors shorted the stock, means they're guaranteeing and betting it's going to go down. Now, the problem with that is
Yep.
because of the rules that the different agencies have put out there and have communicated, they have to close out those positions if certain thresholds are met. Meaning, if I've shorted this number of shares and the price climbs, most brokerage companies or agencies are going to require you to buy those shares at that exact moment, no matter what the price is. What causes everybody is to run to the table to try to close out that short position. So everybody's buying at whatever they have to be able to get out. And if
Yep.
they wait too long, they're going to lose more. So everybody on Robinhood, on Reddit, all those have been just dumping money in there. But the problem is, by them dumping money in there, it causes the share price to rise. Well, as the share price is rising, it's forcing all of these large institutional people to close out those short positions. It means they have to buy at whatever the price is. And what does that do? It causes the price to go up again, which makes these guys panic. And they have to buy, which makes it go up again. And these guys panic, and these guys go. And so then these guys start selling off, who bought down here, start selling off, the price drops again. Then everybody comes back in and does it again. It goes over and over and over.
Yeah, and that's how
And that's
GameStop went up, whatever, like
went from
600%.
$6 to, I think it's $150 a share today.
Jeez. Wow. That
But
is crazy.
there's nobody on the planet that believes GameStop's a good business. And it happened to AMC movie theaters. I don't know if you watched that. AMC
Yeah, I
movie
did.
theaters
I
was
did
going
the
to get
same.
same thing. They jumped in, started buying. Because they did it, it actually probably saved AMC theaters, because they could issue new shares. They raised about almost $1 billion over the last couple of days to keep themselves going,
Jeez, that's
because of a bunch of kids, and I say that in a kind term, on Reddit, basically propped up AMC movie theaters and probably kept GameStop alive for a long period of time.
yeah, and also it's like that's money that's going to GameStop. That's what's also that's how a
Well,
public.
if you're the CEO of GameStop, I don't even know what you say now, because there's nothing you did that caused this to happen other than people figured it out, and that's it. It's a anomaly And I wouldn't even know what to do if I was an investor right now, because as a person, you and I would probably say in GameStop is a terrible investment.
Mhm.
Who buys video games at a game store? Not many people do anymore.
Mhm.
But that being said, I mean, it's in the hundreds and hundreds of percents up over the last months.
And there's a very famous quote that I want to talk about. It's that nobody ever knows where a stock's going. No one, no matter what, no matter how much education you have, no matter how much of a genius you are, nobody knows where a stock's going to go tomorrow. That's just a reality.
No,
And anyone that tries to say, "Oh, here's my genius stock pick that I have a 100% certainty rate," they're probably trying to hose you, because nobody knows where a stock's going.
the only people that know that and act on it go to jail.
That's true. That's a good quote. That's insider trading. Yeah, that's true.
That's the truth. The only people who know that are going to jail if they trade on it. That's it. That's the truth.
Yeah.
The only people who know that are going to jail.
Yeah.
And if you have a question about that, ask anybody who's gone to jail for insider trading, because it does happen.
Yeah. It is.
All right. Well, hey, I'm fried.
That is
I
fair.
told you I'd have a little bit. I've talked for 40 minutes.
Go, Dad. That's awesome.
So,
hey,
I love you.
killed
Thank
it.
you for pushing. Thank you for pushing me. I appreciate it very much. That's what it takes.
Go, Dad. Hey, I got your back. Hey, would you still want to do tomorrow? We should do tomorrow. We can make.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know how tomorrow's going to go. Tomorrow might be a
Yeah.
very emotionally jacked up day. So,
I think, hey, if you want to distract yourself, just go goof around and talk with your son. I got you. So
I appreciate it. Thanks, man. I love you, bud.
I appreciate you.
Love
too.
you.
You're the
Hey,
best.
please send me this video.
Yep, I will. Love you, Dad.